In the name of the Holy and Undivided Trinity, one God.
Amen.
In the CrossFit world, and in the CrossFit adjacent fitness world, let's call it that, like the gym where I coach, there is a famous workout called Murph. And it consists of the following. It's a 1 mile run, followed by 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, and then another 1 mile run. Sound impossible? Oh wait, there's more. You do all of this wearing 20 pounds of military-grade body armor. Now, I don't have to tell you based on your faces that this is very, very difficult. The best athletes in the world can do it in under 40 minutes, which is insane. For reference, I, immortal that I am, once did half of it, heavily modified, in 45, and couldn't walk for weeks. It's hard. This athletic feat is traditionally performed every Memorial Day in memory of Army Lieutenant Michael Murphy, who was killed in combat in Afghanistan in 2005. The body armor is a way of remembering him and honoring his sacrifice, but strictly speaking, in the context of a gym, it serves no practical purpose. No one is under fire while performing pull-ups. In fact, the weighted vests often do a lot more harm than good. Under their warmth and their weight, it becomes difficult to breathe. And it's not uncommon for athletes to collapse from heat stroke and dehydration during work. Now, most of us do not spend our days walking around in military-grade body armor, though perhaps some of us have been familiar with it. But all of us have our own sets of defense mechanisms, our own systems for protecting ourselves from the assaults and injuries of everyday life. Some of this is healthy and necessary. We need to know how to take care of ourselves so that we can keep on going when life gets hard, as it has been, my friends, for the past few weeks. Sometimes we need to compartmentalize our intense feelings so that we can get through the workday. I was able to watch Kira Smith's memorial service from Germany, and I have never felt such empathy as I did for Patty and the compartmentalization she had to do to get through that service. Sometimes we need that. It is not always practical to break down in tears in the checkout line at the grocery store. But, you know there's a but. Just as the weight vest in Murph can cause serious problems for athletes, sometimes our defensive systems get in our way. Sometimes the habits that we think are protecting ourselves are actually destroying us. Be it the alcohol that we drink to numb our pain, or our stubborn self-reliance that keeps us from asking for the help we desperately need, or our apathy, our willingness to turn a blind eye to the suffering of others because we do not want to feel their pain. These habits and the many others like them can become a protective shell, a set of armor that keeps us trapped in a sort of living death. And these self-constructed suits of armor can be incredibly isolating and deeply damaging. And often the worst part about them is we have no idea we're even wearing them. Today, the letter to the Ephesians invites us to peel away that armor piece by piece and replace it with the armor of God. Sounds great, doesn't it? It's just like the armor we had before, but better. Stronger. It's like a divine upgrade. Who wouldn't want that? Except, oh wait, it's not what we think. Instead of a breastplate to protect our vital organs, we get righteousness. Instead of a good, sturdy shield to deflect those enemy arrows, we get faith. And instead of a functional weapon, instead of a sword, we get words and spirit. I don't know about you, but if I were out on a battlefield, this is not the gear I want. Putting on the armor of God is not about proving our own strength. It is not about relying on ourselves. It's about putting our whole trust in the strength of trusting that all those pleasant-sounding, but ultimately rather vague spiritual qualities, trust, righteousness, peace, faith, salvation, that all of those things are strong enough to help us stand against evil and darkness. When we put on the armor of God, we are putting our trust in things we cannot see. On some level, that divine armor leaves us deeply vulnerable, and that can be terrifying. The armor of God has a secret advantage. Because unlike the armor of this world, which despite all of our many technological advances tends to be bulky and heavy and uncomfortable, the armor of God is lightweight. And because it's lightweight, it is exceptionally portable. This divine armor of faith, truth, righteousness travels with us wherever we go, through fire and water, into every imaginable situation of peril and need. The armor of God, friends, is traveling gear. And when we travel in it, our purpose is not to bring destruction, not to initiate combat, not even to protect ourselves primarily. It is armor not of war, but of peace. How can we tell? By looking at the shoes. Instead of combat boots, we put on whatever will make us ready to proclaim the gospel of peace. In this verse, the writer of Ephesians is borrowing from the prophet Isaiah, who writes, "How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of the messenger who announces peace." I imagine these beautiful, peaceful feet wearing a good pair of sneakers, maybe some sturdy Birkenstocks, something that can let you go and go and go and not fatigue. The armor of God equips us to go into those places, those relationships where there is no peace, so that we may share God's faith and truth and love and salvation. How do we do this? Sounds great. How does it actually work? Well, the writer of Ephesians sums it up in one word: pray. Pray everywhere. Pray all the time. Pray every way you know how to pray. In our day and age, the concept of prayer has unfortunately become cheapened. Thoughts and prayers have become synonymous with evasive action, with slapping a band-aid on the gaping wounds in our collective soul and sidestepping the hard and necessary work the gospel calls us to. But we know, friends, we know that prayer is more than an inner platitude, and that there are times when there is nothing we can do but pray. Times when every breath, every step we take becomes prayer, because there is no other way to keep on keeping on. Rabbi Donnie Ruttenberg says this about prayer: Perhaps all our prayers are open expressions of resentment, desperation, hope, gratitude, wonder, frustration, or many of the other things a person might feel when they are up to the ears in it. Real prayer doesn't magically fix everything. Prayer can help us name what's happening and to pour it out to the great transcendent beyond, to turn our isolated feelings into something that connects us, that binds us to something bigger. It is an outward offering that turns feelings into prayer. We don't just experience them, we offer them up to someone, something. We say, "Here, can you hold on to at least a tiny piece of this anger, frustration, and despair for just a second?" We connect our heart to the great infinite everythingness, the gushing, pulsing stream of life within and around us. We reach out. It's about turning in to that which interlinks us all, that which is found within and between us. So, dear friends, in our prayer, with and for each other, in our raw and vulnerable offering up of what is to the arms of the divine, may we find the strength and the courage to take off our own armor and put on the armor of God. May we, filled with God's Spirit, carry the gospel of peace to every place our world, in our communities, and in our own hearts that is hurting right now. And may we experience in our own bodies that peace of God which passes all understanding. Amen.
Amen.
Friends, in the musical meditation that follows